Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today, I'm reviewing Soul. So Soul is the newest Pixar film that we'll be releasing on Disney Plus December 25th, and it's something I really didn't know what to expect from. I watched the trailers, I knew it was going to be a very well-crafted film because it's from Pixar, and it's directed by Pete Docter of Monsters, Inc., Up, and Inside Out fame, so you know you're going to get some deep messaging, especially from his recent work, and you definitely get that from this film. This film has a lot of metaphysical, philosophical, and deep ideas of what life is, what makes you who you are, what is your soul and your purpose in life. And while I think that's phenomenally well written, I think it's an excellent film, I think it may be lost on children a little bit, because this movie is clearly supposed to be, in my opinion, marketed towards children. It's a Pixar film going on Disney Plus. They have a long track record of really well-made children's films that also reach adults. But I think this one reaches adults really well and may miss the mark a little bit for children. So the film follows the story of Joe Gardner, who's voiced by Jamie Foxx, and he's a jazz musician who finally is going to get his big break. His whole life he's been trying to just be a successful musician, a professional musician. He's kind of down on his luck. He's just being a teacher. He's just teaching young students, and he finally gets a chance to play at this jazz club with this famous jazz singer, and then he ends up dying. And then when he dies, he doesn't want to accept it. He ends up, he doesn't want to go to the afterlife. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to go back. It's his big shot. He's finally got it. So he somehow gets thrown into this before life stage where he's seeing souls being crafted to be birthed into the world. And now when you say that, it sounds a little crazy and it sounds very meta and philosophical, and that's because it is. This movie doesn't really have a lot of huge comedic moments that you expect from a Pixar film. Tina Fey plays Soul 22, who is a soul that doesn't want to go to Earth. She sees Earth, sees people living their lives. She just thinks it's pointless. It's sad. People don't really accomplish a lot of things. None of it really matters at the end of the day. And he's there trying to get back to the world. So he's using her as a catalyst to get him back, and maybe he can go back with her. And the whole story is just him trying to show her the meaning of life and what's important and what makes life worth living. And he learns a lot along the way. The story is a message of you understanding what is important, what's really of value in your life, family, connections, like growing the world, maybe not personal success, but overall adding to the world as a whole. And I think that's incredible messaging. I think it's very well written. And I think the overall art style of the film definitely contributes to it. So like I said, there's this pre-life stage where they're in this ethereal plane. There's everything can be molded and shaped. There's even these godlike creatures that are just abstract shapes that are in the shapes of kind of humanoid forms, and they speak, and it's just things. It's so strange. If you're watching this movie as a child, you might just be like, this is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. So I think as an adult, you watch it and you can appreciate that style. When they go to, like I said, the pre-world stage, it looks like kind of more cartoonish. It looks more ethereal and otherworldly. And when they go to the real world, the animation in this movie is breathtaking. It looks so almost photorealistic. If it weren't for the strange proportions of the characters, you would think you're watching a real live image. It's not a computer generated, it's real photography. So I like that juxtaposition of the real world and the ethereal plane. They were very distinct and very different. I think that helped added to the overall messaging. The score as well is just phenomenal. You get to have those really soulful, powerful jazz tones juxtaposed to this technotronic, futuristic sounds of the afterlife. And you get that feeling of what life is, and the music that's kind of the flavors of life, and it's the flavors of Joe's life. So they're able to really hit home some of these different things about what your soul is and what Earth is and what the purpose of living is. And I feel like it's hard to explain this film, and that's one of the reasons why I think it might be lost on kids. You have to really dive into the minutia of what is your soul, what is your purpose, what brings you happiness, and all the different things that go along with that. There's just so much to unpack here. And the movie also deals with death in a very adult way. The idea of passing on and what that means, and legacy and what you leave behind. I love it. I think it's really well crafted, and I think it really does hit these points in a very artful and accessible way. But like I said, at the same time, it's a little deep for children. I think most kids might honestly be a little bored with this film. There is a storyline, though, where you get kind of a Freaky Friday situation with being switched off with a cat, and that created kind of some funny comedic moments. I think kids would enjoy that section of the film. I think it works really well, and I do like the overall idea of him trying to direct his own body and the ideas and the implications of that. So I thought that section was really enjoyable, and I think kids would particularly like that one. But overall, I feel like the film does have some really powerful and important messages that I think a lot of adults could appreciate watching this movie. I know as someone who's struggled with the ideas of, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? That you get to see this and you understand that maybe there is a bigger picture. You can take a lot away from what you do in a day. You're watching your life, you think it's passing you by, but you really are doing things that are important to other people around you. And you can't just be so self-absorbed in your own personal accomplishments that you realize that you could be helping so many people and shaping their lives in incredible ways. So if I were to rate this movie, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, I feel like I have to be pretty objective about the idea of who the target audience is for this movie, and maybe it did miss the mark, particularly for having this being something children could watch. But I think as an overall film, and just being the way it's crafted and written and the storytelling, I think it's probably one of the top tier Pixar films, but I have to knock it down a little bit just because of the lack of appeal for its own target audience. So if you checked out Soul, or you are checking out Soul, are you excited about it? How do you feel about it? When you're watching the trailer, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know what this movie is. I don't even understand what this movie is going to be about. And now that I've watched it, I really thoroughly did enjoy it. But at the same time, it doesn't have the feeling at times of a Disney Pixar film. It gets a little bit into the weeds when it deals with some of this content. And I really did enjoy it, but I can totally understand why some people might be turned off when they watch this film. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.